Hello, welcome to day one of week 3 of split 2 of the 2020 OPL. I am your host, Nick Boy Richardson. I'm delighted to be here. Thanks very much to our sponsors, Macca's, Neosurf, and Epos. And most of all, I'm delighted to be here because I'm joined by 3 of the most delightful people I encountered during my week, at least. We've got Spawn, Rusty, and Skimmy. And I'm most excited to be here because when we get here, just before we go onto air every week, someone out of the 3 of you asks a question where I'm like, why are we asking this now? Save it for the broadcast. So, Rusty, you could start us off.
Okay,
Please.
so I've been thinking over this now. You've made me hold on to it, Nick. So my question was, is all dust human skin? And you said yes. My next question is, are we a part of the fossil fuel that we use?
That's going deep.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Because
Absolutely.
fossil fuel is made out of the skin of
But
long
how many
animals,
years would you need to reach that point where we could actually put it into your car, yeah? Millions, surely.
Yeah, because it's all dinosaurs, right? Like, it's all just, like, sludged out dinosaur. And unless you live in Adelaide, you don't get sludged out too fast. That's a really deep serial killer reference. So yeah, are we petrol yet? I don't know if we're petrol yet, but I think 2/3 of the, I think it's something like 2/3 of dust is human skin, right?
It's a lot. That's really,
It's a lot of
like,
skin.
I'm going to be much more clean than I normally am knowing
I'm
that.
so sorry. I am so distracted. Because it looks like Nick has genuinely taken the throw off his bed behind him and just put it around his shoulders and said, you know what? This'll do. This is the outfit that I've decided to go for today on the OPL.
I think it's part of
Nick,
IKEA's new range.
That is so courageous. That is some of the IKEA range.
It is.
That's
you know,
okay.
that showroom, I'm pretty sure it's a green screen. You know,
What
like
is it in Swedish? Skimmy.
Rusty's obviously got a beautiful backdrop behind his, but he's put up the curtain the right way. And what is it in Swedish? Who knows? I can't think of anything funny on the spot, but it's beautiful regardless.
It's, look, we don't know how many more days we're going to be able to do this show from home. And when I can be as comfortable as humanly possible, then I will be. I'm sorry, Spawn, that we can't all look like Russian gangsters. So, some of us are comfortable, loving human beings.
This is the IWC All-Star Melbourne jacket from 2015, you uncultured swine.
Honestly, I've seen you in every Guy Ritchie movie. What are you wearing? Send us a picture using the hashtag #IamOPL. Gentlemen, how are we? Welcome back. Welcome back to League of Legends. Welcome back to the OPL, everybody. Have we had a good week? Rusty, you've been to the gym, right? Surely. That's all you care about.
Yeah, have I been to the gym, Nick? I've been to the gym a lot, actually. But no, I've been swamped with work, man. So I've actually, because my studies are at a practical period, right? So we're doing a lot of coaching and training. So I've been training 3 times a day because I want to go to the gym, and my studies are making me train as well. So I'm just bugging.
Spawn,
Look,
you're in a suspiciously good mood.
I am. I'm really happy today. I don't know why, and it feels weird. It kind of feels like this is what illness feels like to other people, I assume. Because I woke up this morning and I got to spend 2.5 hours. So I woke up and Jasper was already in bed with me. He was hugging me. I got out of bed. I got to spend 2.5 hours alone with Jasper. I'd had a really good week with Order previous to this. I've got my new coach in, so I get to be on the broadcast full time again. There is just, you know what? Things are finally coming up Millhouse. Like, things are really coming up Millhouse. And I was reading some, like, feedback on other broadcasts around the world. And some of the feedback was, like, pretty much it needs to be more like the OPL. And I was like, well, we are the OPL. And isn't it good to be on the OPL today?
It's pretty cool.
That's lovely. And Skimmy, sorry, I cut you off before.
No, I was going to say, to really add to Rusty's point, I've got this theory that, when you actually do some adult responsibilities, you play games better. I feel like it's that sense of purpose of, you're not being a lazy dog, you're not foregoing everything, you're not ordering Uber Eats every night. I've got this theory, okay, that Rusty...
Oh, yeah, please keep going.
He's got 50 assignments. The guy's swamped with work. He has a fire alarm go off. He is forced to go outside the house. He comes back, Instagrams the story of, a 12-page essay. He's got all this work. He's doing 15 workouts a day. His muscles are exhausted. He's looking like a Chad. He's alpha as hell. Then he's like, okay, now it's time to play some video games. So the body's exhausted, but the mental is still there. Then he gets an ace and then finishes it with the Odin, the worst gun, mind you, in Valorant. Gets an ace, gets the clout on Twitter, gets all the validation. The dopamine is absolutely rushing to his head. He's feeling good. He's like, I am honestly the ideal gamer. I look good. I feel good. I am good. That's the point.
So that's it for the show tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
He was casting your brain. I like someone in chat. Who was it? LMAOLP said Rusty hasn't actually left the gym. He just brought the backdrop screen with him, which is a big advantage of that thing. So it's very exciting to be back.
How's your week,
for
Nick?
another week? Oh, thank you very much for asking. No, my week has been. How was it? I can't remember anything beyond this morning. I think overall my week's been pretty good. I think I've had a pretty good week. I've had a busy week, and that's it. I literally cannot remember a single thing that happened.
You sent me a book. Thank you very much for that. I'll say it on the broadcast. Nick Boyd, good guy, sent me a book about Jasper being a big brother, and he reads it every morning, Nick, so thank you very much.
There you go. I'm like a second father to that kid, and God knows he needs it. All right. A second father to us, beyond obviously Riot, is NeoSurf. They are the parent that we want, and we're stuck with Riot. But it is thanks to NeoSurf that you can be a part of the OPL family as well. They can be your parents too, because you can join our opening video, win yourself a $500 NeoSurf voucher to use in the League of Legends store. All you need to do is take a video of yourself joining our video call, follow OPL and NeoSurf Esports on Twitter, then send via DM to @OPL that video for your chance to win. You've gotten to week 3, which is this week. I think they close tonight. They could close tomorrow. Don't take anything I say for law. You just have to go to watch.lolesports.com for full terms and conditions. So I'm going to say it's tomorrow. Screw it. You know what? I am the law. You can send it in by midnight tomorrow. Full terms and conditions are on watch.lolesports.com. First prize is $500 NeoSurf voucher. 5 runners up get $100 each. So that's a total of $1,000 of NeoSurf goodness that's been sent to you for use in the League of Legends store. So a massive thanks to our partner /parent NeoSurf, the only solution that lets you pay in cash online to thousands of websites, including League of Legends. Unlike your actual parents, who don't give you any money to spend on League. And that's why you... what's it called? Emancipated yourself.
Nick, do you know if we have any sway over who the winners are?
Yeah, we pick them. Sorry, we pick. Do you?
Okay. Well, no, because I'm feeling like, like when you have one of those good school projects back in the day, right? And you put in all that effort over the summer break, you come back and somebody's like, okay, you must have had a good school holidays. I'm really looking forward to seeing that one person put in all that effort, and maybe, they got the fancy outfit, they've got like a bit of a narrative behind it as to what it represents. We also had the meme last week of Dab Daddy, be it King Spawn there, the Russian gangster. But I'm wanting to see somebody sort of take that inspiration, bring it into their own and say, look, this is why I should be chosen. So,
do you know why I'm looking forward to that as well, Skimmy? Because I can't wait for that person to show up and for me to go, wow, what a great person. And then for Davo Erlo to cover himself in excrement and for you guys to be like, Davo Erlo has done it again. And I'm just going to be like, what is going on in this broadcast?
I just want a story. I need to see something, a bit of narrative. Make that introduction, make the pandemic. Have all these
God, we're in for a big day.
I don't know where we're going. Champs Select is coming up, isn't it? It's coming up. It's soon,
Rusty,
isn't it?
I was like, we've already peaked on Skimmy, and then we hit Davo Erlo covered in excrement way earlier than I was expecting. Like, this is still a reasonable time in which sponsors and Riot staff would still be watching this trash broadcast. We normally hit this stuff around 8:30 at night when we know they're all having dinner with their families. Let's jump into game number 1 because we've got 4 games coming up for you. Do we have time for a quick schedule? We haven't even done that because we've been so busy talking about human skin and excrement.
Yes!
Today's schedule, game number 1, Direwolves versus Gravitas. You've then got Chiefs versus Mammoth, Legacy taking on Pentanet.gg, and rounding out the evening order versus Avant. These games are all pretty good games. I'm even looking forward to number 2 because who knows what can happen. But before we get to 2, we have to start with 1. It's Direwolves versus Gravitas. It's game 1 of the OPL, and it is coming at you after this short break with the Macca's Champ Select.
What are your thoughts on versing Prayless from Gravitas?
I think Prayless are probably the best player on the Gravitas, so I'm so excited to verse, but yeah, I think he's trash.
Turrets are falling. The Nexus turret, the second one to go. And Direwolves, they destroy their opponents.
K-pop, Trashly, or Beats in the bottom lane against Gravitas this weekend?
I think all 3 of those players are probably like the worst in their position right now. They're all like fairly new to the scene. Me and Vital should just blow them out of the water.
Easy win.
Kweku, I'm pretty disappointed in him. He used to play good champs like Alawi and Fiora, but now he's a bit of a one-trick. I think Kweku's probably the nicest guy in the OPL, but unfortunately it doesn't translate to League of Legends skill, so should be an easy matchup.
And welcome back for the very first game of the day. I'm absolutely loving the content that's come from this pandemic era, Rusty. Direwolves just showing up each week with montages, memes, and everything else. And I think there were some very valid points in that one. Vital, after the performance of last week, I wouldn't put it past him to have that confidence of saying it's going to be an easy win. He got the unofficial Penta. They went back to the aggressive nature of the Misfortune and Leona. This is why we were first such a big fan of him when he came in Split 1.
Yeah, he's the young mechanical player, and I think, making his life easy is very important for the Direwolves, right? If you want to succeed, you just want to be able to let him focus on clicking those buttons and doing them the best that he possibly can. Let the team have the brains around him while he is the brawn. We saw that last week being possible again. One of the bigger changes, one of the reasons that we're able to see that is often, Chippy's playing his tanks in the top lane, but also the rest of the team playing more engage-centric roles around him, right? The second we start going to passive business, the Direwolves started to feel out of sorts and losing. So we'll see where they go again today. Again, because it is Decoy playing and it is not Cupcake. We're not seeing as much Bard, but they've got the Trundle. They have the makings of that style of composition. And what we've got from Gravitas already, Skimmy, is taking the Thresh away to help that a little bit.
Yeah, and that's going to be a pick that we're going to look to find, I would hope, a lot of value. We've seen that Puma and Beats are very much a work in progress, but they've got a lot of flexibility. I feel sorry in a way for Beats, given the nature that he's had to flex in 4 different positions. But Puma showing that, hey, look, I can play the Syndra in that bot lane. Whether or not that's now going to be a respect ban that goes that way, quite honestly, it still did leave a lot left to be desired. It didn't have the kind of pop-off performance that you'd expect for a mage to find on that bottom side of the map, but it is still an area where they'll find strength. I think for me, what really is the identity so far for Gravitas has to be their mid-jungle link-up. We saw last week, we've always been so vocal about it with Prayless. He is the captain, he is the flagship, right, of this team, but Seaman, when he got that chance to pop off there to the Yasuo, the combination just looked flawless.
Yeah, I mean, he may be the flagship of the fleet, but there's still a giant destroyer next to him in Seaman. You can never forget about that guy, right? He's a monster. And yes, he got the Yasuo, but he's been... I feel like he's been having just a very good year individually and mechanically. So when it does click, they're the type of team that can always make those upsets. So it's just about, finding what makes it click for them more consistently. And Gravitas then start to try and push themselves up into at least, playoffs contention, we would say.
Let's see what these bans are coming into that second part of the phase. LeBlanc, Akali taken away, so no aggressive nature. We've seen Suman flex in multiple directions. Actually played the Zed as well, so definitely feeling a lot more comfortable in his position on this team. Once upon a time, it's all about those control mages, but we were told he is this assassin player. And that's definitely becoming a lot more prevalent now. Looks like they still want to be aggressive, however. They've denied away, obviously, the Morgana as well as the Time Kench. Some fantastic denial tools to keep the likes of Vital protected.
Yeah, waiting to see what's locked in here for the rest of these compositions as well. Gravitas is the one who'll be obviously showing first. We are just waiting for that solo lane position. No, AD carry position is actually what we're waiting for. The Fiddlesticks threw me off. We're looking at the other side though, and that's what's interesting to me. So Direwolves, they held their support till last. And I think it's because they just wanted to see their bot lane matchup and to win the game through potentially exploiting that bottom lane itself. So now they know it's the Ezreal. And they have just been, veering much more towards those engaged champions. Morgana, Tahm Kench, Yumi already taken off the board anyway, so options are limited. You could go something like a Karma, be super aggressive, have lane priority and lane control with the Aphelios, but I'm a bigger fan of seeing Decoy play the Nautilus, play the Leona, play something that's super aggressive. And this one's a better choice. Leona soft-countered, obviously, in the Thresh lane, with him being able to flay you away from your E constantly. So Nautilus, I like this pick a lot, and I like what Direwolves have put together.
And it does feel like they're catering to their playstyle of old, right? What works at the start of Split 1, and it was that aggressive nature. It was playing through the bot lane, having that win condition in, and obviously you then had Chippies playing those bruises on the top side. But that has obviously been the biggest transition coming from playoffs now into Split 2, that he's a lot more willing to pick up the likes of the Malphites, of your Vladimirs, and even the Ornn here. So the adaptations there. What was interesting and why I highlighted the Syndra is that once again, they first picked the Syndra. You're always thinking, where's it going to go? And as we can see here, they're putting it in bot lane again.
Yeah, but that, does that mean it's an Ezreal mid lane going with the Lee Sin?
It does look like it. It does look like it.
So I guess we're seeing more and more. Death's Dance is broken, Skibby. Death's Dance is just a real,
How many games have I watched where the third item comes along? I'm pretty sure it was you that told me, just build Death's Dance, third item, regardless of the AD carry. It feels like when I'm watching those matches, you're like, just wait, and you get that point, and suddenly the Ezreal has 250 armor, and you go, what do I do?
Yeah, it's like, when you're playing as a Aphelios, and you're like, I hit my 3 items, the game's over, 200 years of experience. It's now almost like a 220 years of experience deal. They're just adding layers on top to that thing that's already pretty broken. It's really good with Ezreal because he is, like you mentioned, super tanky. He can go for the Glacial Shroud, get that Iceborne Gauntlet, build a Death Stance after no one that does physical damage is going to touch the man. But then he still has magic resistance if you go Merc Treads with it as well. Or even a Hexdrinker build. So can't be killed, has permanent wave clear, never runs out of mana. I could see some merits in it. I'm very curious to see how this will go, of course, in a solo lane mid, however. And when you're looking at the matchup against an Orianna, one of the things worth noting is that Ori's resistances are very reliant on the ball being connected to her. So if she's ever playing aggressively with the ball forwards, then she's a lot weaker for an Ezreal to actually dash forwards. And there's, of course, a Lee Sin there. So high kill threat between those champions.
Well, let's see what happens in this game here. Rusty, it's our very first game of the weekend. It is Gravitas taking on the Direwolves. Back to business for them. They're keeping with tradition with the aggressive tank in the top side. New addition at Chippies has been really busting out in the Rift here, but the aggressive nature of this bot lane, why not? Vital had a standout performance to come into week 2. He's looking the goods. And Decoy now being the mainstay here, will be looking to facilitate that even more. But it's that hybrid flex really coming out here from Gravitas. A few narratives to follow. Obviously, how do Beats and Puma, now they've had another week to practice this bot lane mage assassination setup. How do they fare? What does Suman now do when he's flexing this Ezreal? And what is the form for Quaku? Because I feel like last week we got to see a little bit more of why he was so strong and successful on Mammoth.
Yeah, Quaku came into his own just a little bit. Of course, he was able to play one of his comfort champions of the Poppy, so things like that will be very handy for him. Of course, he's going to be going up against Chippies today playing the Ornn, one of the champions that he put some serious time into, making sure that he was a master of the champion where he wasn't in that first split. And so one thing that we have to look at again, Skimmy, while it is on our screen, that bottom lane, remember that it is a teleport for Puma. He hasn't gone for the heal. They haven't got an exhaust in that 2v2. So there is legitimately kill threat for Decoy and Vital in just the 2v2 if one of those hooks starts to hit. I'd say 1 hook would be a decent amount of chunk. 2 hooks and probably a kill would happen in that bottom lane. So that's something we're going to have to keep our eyes tracking. Just because, again, they could do that by themselves without the need for a jungler. But when you look at those junglers, pathing, very similar at the moment. Working towards bot side, just about the camps that were cleared in between that's different.
You're pretty stable in the jungle department right now. You kind of expect to see the likes of, your Trundles, your Gragasons, your Graves, and so on. If they're banned away, you're looking to try and get those up in the likes of ADC contention early on in the draft. And we're going to see here the onus really going to be put onto Kralis here to find a lot of advantages, at least before level 6. with that aggressive ganking nature. We have seen a few variations on the Lee Sin build as well, some opting for the Tiamat for the increased camp clear. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of that, as I tend to imagine that, the strength really of a Lee Sin is looking for picks, looking for kills, and utilising that strong early game.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of preference with that. Like, there might be certain matchups, very specifically, where I think that is actually decent. Generally, I agree with you, though. Like, if you're picking the Jarvan and you're picking the Lee Sin, you're going to be looking to be at least a little bit active early. And especially with the top lane matchup that he's got going for himself here as well. Renekton the Ornn is very much like, it's a war of attrition in very unique ways. Renekton has healing through his spells. Ornn can buy items and purchase his way into the lane a bit further. This is our first real look at it in this game. Quaku might be in trouble.
Quaku may indeed be in trouble. He's pushed all the way towards Chippy's tower. Now double buff on this Trundle. The pillar comes out. Red buff slow as well. The headbutt into that pillar. That's going to force out a flash. The response comes across. The chomp will be up in just a second. First blood to the Direwolves.
Yeah, very easy there, actually, from the Direwolves going into that top lane gank. We'll see some damage happen in mid. Human very aggressive.
Yeah, playing incredibly aggressive right now. Does have the flash, does have the heal, used it for the movement speed.
Oh,
Prayless actually fails it, but gets the safeguard off, and that could be enough to secure the kill. Flash for flash, the ball still survives and takes out a crippled Ezreal. Chaos in the mid lane. Flash is being used, flash has been failed, but all things going the way to Direwolves.
That was a comedy of errors there for Gravitas. Direwolves are the ones who come out on top from that one. Oh, you hate to see it. I'm not even sure why Prayless was flashing there. I think he might have already been in W range, but he went to flash the wall, didn't even make it over the wall, and then had to use the W to get there. Regardless, they will find themselves a kill. I think compliments of the minions more than anything else at the end. As Human, way too aggressive. We said this at the start. A lot of this priority, like, if you're going to pick the Ezreal and you're going to put it mid lane when you've already got a Syndra, you can just put the Syndra mid, right? Like, you have to be able to play around this matchup or you wouldn't put it there. And that's the way that this starts. I mean, come on.
It's not the start he was looking for, especially with this pocket pick that they've obviously brought to the game here today, and Shock will find a lot of value in that one. We'll come back to the lane, has used that teleport, so isn't going to miss out on too much, despite the wave being where it was, but this is looking a little bit better now in the bottom side. Bear in mind, last time Puma ran the Syndra into this bottom matchup, he was going into a Braum, so a very passive matchup. This one obviously looking to be a lot more aggressive, so the punishment potential won't be as forgiving as it was once upon a time.
As long as the bot lane lives here, they are okay. This will still be some serious damage, but like, this is the side of the map where Mir's playing towards. Top lane just kind of boomed itself. Quaku tanked some turret shots there. He didn't have a lot of health to his name. So that was actually being held in a freeze. And bot lane for the Direwolves was the lane that was pushing. So if they're able to get control of that lane, even get a kill, they would have been way too far ahead, potentially even out of control 5 minutes in. Things are already pretty rough, I think it's fair to say, for Gravitas, but you don't want that blown open.
So, Mir got the first reset off, and he's now a little bit behind in camps, but he is actually posturing himself for a two-man setup. A shot comes to this bottom side. This will be a four-man collapse with the wave coming in for a beautiful crash. Death sentence to start things off. The shockwave onto two. That's one already falling on down. The turret aggro juggles around. The kills galore. Now 4-0, the Direwolves in red hot form.
I mean, Direwolves, if they played that even better, they may not have had to waste a heal. Like, that's how good it was from them overall. A teleport's going to come into the bottom lane just to try and catch these minions from Puma as they get dove. It's so easy from the Wolfpack. And they are just slaughtering Gravitas. 4-0, 6 minutes in. This could just become a wash real quick.
It definitely could be, and this is what we looked at last week, was when Puma did play that Syndra and had the strongest laning phase, and then when it came into those mid-game fights, wasn't the biggest factor. A lot of that was obviously banked on the fact that Yasuo and Gragas were so far accelerated, so his responsibility for being that hard-shoving AP mage on the bot side was all forgiven for the most part, but as a result of how the lane state is for all three lanes in combination, all three picks I should say, not looking too good at the 7-minute mark.
Not at all. And the thing, like, the one thing that they do have going for them is the cost of their items. There is some pretty cheap item spikes that come out of a lot of these champions. I just need to keep banning people in chat. Just give me a second. Go,
Man
cut
of
it
many
out.
talents. You're
Cut it out.
multitasking once again.
You can't stop me. No, so they've got pretty cheap item spikes, right? Ezreal is decent when you go for the Iceborne Gauntlet build instead of the Trinity Force. The Manamune is actually a very efficient item.
Yeah.
So you can also get that once that scales up and you'll be fine. So it's one of those situations where some of these champions, even if you're 3,000 gold behind, at the timing that you hit your spikes, if there was like a Drake fight potentially that happened, you'd actually just be even. So you could consider taking it, and that could be the thing that gets you back into the game, but I don't think that happens in enough places here for that to be too big of a deal.
Well, it looks like they made the trade of saying we're going to forfeit bot lane, we're going to invest heavily into these neutral objectives. They get the very first dragon and now taking their team to the top side to try and invest in that Herald, which you can see Prellis is now set up. The cost though, Rusty, as it appears to be here, is you're going to sacrifice so many turret plates.
Yeah, and you're looking top lane, right? Are they going to get enough plates to compensate for that? Hook's on in bottom lane as well.
If they find Quaker as well, it'd be an absolute disaster, but that has to be the trade-off, right? A tower's going to fall on down. If we can pan topside and see what the damage is done there, it's going to give us a clear indication as to how much value this Herald actually represents.
Well, this is the damage, right? They're going to get Herald. The question is, where do they place that Herald? You presume it'll be straight into top lane. Chippies may even use his ultimate to try and clear the wave a little bit more. We'll see how this plays out. They don't have any teleports.
Well, that turret is looking very healthy right now, and the Ornalt will be used to clear, at least trim that wave.
Yeah, he clears the whole
for
wave.
a little bit longer, and you saw Prellis pathing to the top side for what you'd imagine was to be that deployment, but that's going to stop him dead in his tracks.
I mean, they just hard win that, Direwolves. There was no trade from Gravitas. I think that, you know, the choice of going for the Herald, I can understand it. He didn't want to place it straight away for the charge, it feels like, just because it wouldn't break the turret. They wanted to get maybe another plate before they summoned it. But that's the thing that Ornn can do, you know? He's able to clear the wave from so far away, no concerns whatsoever. And so it's just an extra 610 gold, by the way, into the pockets of Vital, getting that first tower by himself, and the gold lead grows.
The absolute dream for an AD carry is to invest heavily, and we've seen many a times when they look to try and donate as many plates in their favor. Sometimes when these flips on the map happen, to just leave their AD carry on their own to acquire as many of those as possible. But you talk about those item spikes, and now what does it mean, given that both have reset and actually stayed on the top side of the map? Well, you've got a BF sword and completed boots up against a lost chapter.
Yeah, slight. I mean, BF sword versus lost chapter is the same amount of gold, right? It's the other stuff that you have to look at. There's 2 amp tomes against the entire Berserker Greaves, a pickaxe and a dagger in there, so very far ahead is the AD carry of Direwolves, but I guess we shouldn't be comparing those two as much. You know, they are laning together right now, so which is why we are. But the AD carry of Gravitas is the one in the mid lane, and he is not item spiked yet, so definitely pretty far ahead is Direwolves.
Sitting on the Sheen, and he's invested in that coal after the initiation that happened in mid lane. It did not fare his way, so looking to try and get himself a accelerated farming spike, if they can find it, as we saw a lot of action shown towards this top side of the map, with both junglers being very proactive and Prellis sniffing out any form of opportunity for which they can use to then try and claw back at this gold deficit.
Ooh.
And that's that beautiful lantern. Pixel perfect, denying decoy of a well-timed hook.
Yeah, it was real close. If that hook hits, it would cancel. It's a nice kick.
Out comes the kick. The pick target has been found. It is going to be shocked, smited, and deleted. The hook is for retribution as they try to turn it around. Down goes the pillar. Can they find anything with this? No, they cannot. Decoy in trouble as well, and that's all Gravitas was sniffing for. Hanging around in the topside river, waiting for an opportunity, and they finally are finding it.
Yeah, they played the numbers game there, most importantly, to be able to get those picks. They'll get some plate damage here as well before the Herald is summoned. This will be very close to just one-tapping the turret now. The amount of damage that they have been able to put down. They'll survive for the moment. Mid may even be able to push them back just because the teleports are available. Here we go.
Yep, they do not want that turret to fall on down as Chippies rocks up. The TP comes in from the Orianna as well. Flash to flash, shockwave for the execution. Suman survives, however. That will force out the dominus from Quaku, so the initiation, the skirmish potential has been diminished.
During all of this, Vital has just been farming pretty freely in the top lane. He actually cancels it.
He's actually found at Moonlight Vigil at the very last possible moment. That denies the synchronized recalls, and Pume gets caught out. And I was just going to highlight how they were down roughly 4,000 gold and how that play in mids, getting at least 1,500s. They've got to find something again, and they will, back to back. Shock is the target.
Yeah, Prellis is putting in some serious work on the Shock. Now, Why is that kill even possible? Is because Shock flashed forwards to hit a shockwave onto someone and wasn't able to even find that kill. So very nice follow-up play there, standard jungle practice. The problem is elsewhere on the map. You know, while they're getting these things done, they get the plates in mid lane, they almost break the turret, they'll get the Drake as well. They are getting some money back into their hands, and it's very crucial that they do this now. There is still trades happening elsewhere, and you have to be deathly afraid of this Aphelios.
2 turrets now completely picked up here by Vital, and this is a player you cannot afford to be left to his own device. And it feels very much like Gravitas are playing into the strengths and what was successful for them last week. The mid jungle, as we highlighted, they're linking up, they're making sure that what happened at the start of the game is turned around now, so it can allow Sumin to find a form of advantage. And they're looking to really drive home that tempo by saying, you can push those structures. The trade-off for us is we want to go for these objectives instead.
And so now we've set ourselves up with both, well, let's say AP carries sitting in side lanes. Shock is going to be stronger than Puma, just because he has been solo laning this entire time. It's a level 8 Syndra, right, versus the 10 of the Orianna. So there will usually be more numbers around where that Syndra is placed. They would be strong-siding him. Shock in trouble.
He's
Just
been
dead.
absolutely bullied right now. Used the shockwave, gets the phase rush proc, managed to live, but forced out Puma's flash. He connects with the orb. As Direwolves once again look to say, what can we do to turn things around? Quaku teleports in on half his health bar. He's going to fall on down, flashed away, gets ignited. Quaku going to do whatever he can as he swipes, dashes, and prays for a life bar. He will not find it, however, as the Ornn ult goes flying, but does not connect. The death sentence will land, and it's trouble in the jungle.
They will push him away in the end. It is just a 1-for-1 from the looks of it, depending on what happens with the follow-up here. Kralis about to cop a beating. Just fires back and trades, even trade in the end. So it is just a 1-for-1. Gravitas are repelled. They are pushed back out of Direwolves jungle, but they have the vision control in that area as well. And now the opportunity is theirs. They've got the health advantage to push forwards. Maybe threaten for this tower. Direwolves ever vigilant, won't let them.
Gravitas definitely don't want to force and stick around for those sustained fights. You can see the discrepancy between Israel as well as the Aphelios. That's much in part and thanks to the trades that have been taken across the map right now, with Gravitas investing heavily in those objectives and killing Shock's Orianna. We've seen how many times this guy has played the Orianna, hit those breakpoints, and those shockwaves have been decisive, critical. A big component as to why they've been so insistent on locking it in, but those fights were to be drawn out. Aphelios definitely packs a punch.
Herald started here. Direwolves are looking to take that one outright. Looking at the trades available for Gravitas, unlikely. Most likely is that they'll step into the area. They are looking, they are posturing maybe for a fight here. Eyes on Shock.
No flash is available for Gravitas right now. Very hard to try and force that play as Chippy's buffers the hook. Will not get CC'd. Lantern goes out to make sure no member gets caught out as the pillar gets dropped. CC will not connect out. Gravitas looks to try and assert control of the mid wave. But it will be Direwolves trying to force the invitation of, come at us, let's force a fight. We have a lead, and we want to show you what it is all about. Gravitas won't take that opportunity. They won't explore any further. Direwolves will get themselves the second herald of the game.
Assumer level 11 is starting to become quite an issue for the Direwolves to deal with. Gravitas still have their strengths. One of the biggest outstanding problems is just their top lane. You know, we are, once again, I feel like every time we see a Renekton, except maybe the one order game that we saw from one, they've been struggling. They've been falling behind. And I don't want to always say it's the fault of the Renekton. You know, junglers tend to play towards Renekton lanes, and in this case he got ganked. And, you know, if that was the fault of just Quaku, then fair enough. Like, he's put himself into this rut. The jungler not being in that area is a noted factor, however. He was playing towards mid lane, and rightly so. They picked the Ezreal for it, so that could just be a draft thing, right? There's many layers to it. There's many factors that could be considered. At the end of the day, Renekton now is just behind. And Ornn is ahead, and so he stays there.
He certainly does. It's only going to get worse from here as those ornaments in the next few levels start to come online as well. But now we take a quick stock check of what is available for these two teams. Stoneplate completed for Decoy, going to be incredibly tanky. The response from Beats is that he's got the stopwatch. So both will be looking to try and set up some plays, look to try and soak up as much damage and control in those fights as possible to allow these carries to work their magic. Next dragon up in 10 seconds as the Direwolves with a 3,000 gold lead. Look to set up creatively here.
Look, not going to be able to find somebody. Once again, the Lantern's proving to be just too big of a nuisance, but there's 5 people here, and the Ornhorn could come out at any moment if they wanted to force Gravitas away from this turret, but it seems like Herald's just going to be a distraction. It will get the charge off, of course, not the full damage. Direwolves' ulterior motives lie at the Drake pit itself. Drake number 3 if Gravitas can snag this one.
So, the Dragon starts. It's down to half. The attention goes elsewhere because they really want to fight onto Gravitas right now. They want to show how strong they are. Quaku once again walks in, but has no power. Brayless steals away the Dragon. That's a lifeline for them to play around. The attention is distracted. Beats flashes out of the Orianna Shockwave. They reduce the casualties. They get themselves a dub. And now they have a real win condition of playing for Ocean Soul.
Yeah, I mean, that's just really good. If you were Gravitas, you'd be very happy with that. Even Quaku, you know, the one casualty of war in this exchange, it's super worthwhile. Yeah, what's 0-3 when you're already 0-2-0, and your team gets a soul point, and it's an Ocean Soul at that? You'd be absolutely laughing about it.
Direwolves' hunger to try and force these fights is perhaps putting the blinkers on them as to what the objective is actually at play here. Now, let's not detract away once again from just still how strong they are. They've still got time on their side, still waiting for that Manamune to evolve into the Muramana to give Sumin a very notable power spike.
He'd be close now. Well, we cannot see that just by looking at him. Unfortunately, he would be very close. Usually around 19 to 22 minutes at the latest. Generally, you'll have that upgraded, particularly with a champion like the Ezreal, who just throws out spells constantly, even while walking to and from base. But we'll see how he continues to progress. As right now, the way that this game is set up, Skibby, Praelis is legit doing a 1v9 move. I think the biggest win condition that Gravitas have got for themselves is around that Ocean Soul.
I 100% agree. They have definitely set themselves up for a win condition of, we don't want to go toe-to-toe with you in these fights. We look to really assert control of mid-wave. We've taken Shock out of this game, really hampered his ability to be a major, major threat. We've invested heavily in you saying Vital has to reach that 2-item breakpoint, which he has now. But they have not taken the bait of engaging in these 5v5 fights around those major objectives. So Gravitas don't need to force anything at this stage. Played the ping-pong. And wait for that Ocean Soul in 3 minutes.
He might take that, yeah, he's gone for the kick.
As they continue to find text in the river, that's proved to be so successful all game long. Now why not? As the Stone Plate will not protect Decoy, he will fall on down. That's a 5v4 right off the bat. Flash across the wall, headbutt. As Chippy's locks in place, beats, separates him from the rest of the team, beats down to half, no collapse, no damage, and no response. The Shockwave at the last Imagination comes on through. That evens out the balance now, 4v4, and Aphelios from downtown.
Okay. Okay, Aphelios. Okay, mate.
Red buff, everything, I don't know.
Cut that out.
It's just disgusting. I don't think I'll ever get sick of seeing it, but I know as a player, you'd be so tilted receiving it.
Well, it just hops out of his cloud cutter. Just snag an easy kill on the way through. They also net themselves a bit laid out a turret for it. We're seeing a lot of, like, it's really hard for Direwolves to close the distance, is what it's worth pointing out here, when Direwolves are chasing Gravitas around. They just run away so well. And you're seeing the capabilities of their kiting, of course.
Yeah.
But then Aphelios just exists and all of that goes away. He just completely turns the tide simply by existing.
Praelis is the one leading the line, playing as the kit facilitates them to, right? To find picks, to catch members out, try and make that numbers advantage work in their favor. And you can see why they are so reluctant. There was the proof in the pudding. You know, Vital given only a few seconds of uptime, but with the disgusting weapon setup he had at the time, and with red buff obviously as to be what was the killing blow, just able to claw away kills that just aren't possible on a number of other champions.
I'm just upset still. Like, there's no way you can tell me that that's okay what he just did. It was a turret that did most of that damage, by the way. And It was onto the 0-4-0 player, so he is pretty weak right now. We'll give him that. Vital well on his way to his third item here.
Yep, 2 to 3 components required.
Infamous Death Dance, well on the way.
The dream item, the power spike that you'd argue is even bigger than the 2 items that precede it. It's very, very disgusting. Mirror Mana is now there, as you say. So now Suman will have a lot of armor. And will be well on his way to hitting that 3rd item spike as well. That's when things start to get a little bit juicy, a little bit luxurious.
Oh, wow.
That's a massive pick, fan at the right time! Puma, no chance to respond, and it could not be at a worse time. 5 seconds, and the soul point they are wanting to play for is thrown right back in their face. Decoy is giving Prayless a bit of a taste of his own medicine.
I mean, Skibby, we're all League of Legends players here. If Direwolves win this game, because the amount of years of experience going into this one is just baffling, we'll see how this plays out though. Prayless flashes the wall.
Great flash. Can he find it? He can't this time. He jumps into the pit. The True Shot Barrage combined would not be enough to secure that one.
They go Baron.
And for sure, that's the Dragon, and that is the Jungler. Baron is the call.
They may even use it as just a bait, potentially. We'll see how they play this out. Gravitas will be very aware that they are going to be on it. They have enough tanky members to just sit there and tank it in the first place. They also have an affiliate who, if you wanted, he could overshield the whole thing. There is a ward still there for Gravitas, both the Scuttle Crab and the ward that Decoy is standing on, but they might just not be able to get here in time at all.
Baron will go the way of the Direwolves. How heavy, or how hard have Gravitas committed to this one? Looks like they've got a clean disengage. They're not going to lose too much, although Beats has run into the middle of Africa. Despite that, has vision down, so they won't know where he is. Or maybe they just don't care.
They'll let him live this time regardless. He's not going to be a prisoner of war. He's going to get to recall, go back to base, no problems. Outer turret going to go down here as well for Gravitas. So they'll get some extra gold into their pockets, but it is still soul point left on the cards if they're able to withstand this Baron push that will be coming from the Direwolves, because they secure the Baron. They get some kills in there as well. They've got their 3 item spikes on most of their members. I'm not counting the Magi as he's only got 9 stacks if you're shocked, but a one-team fight, it counts. Gravitas have done everything that they can, Skibby, to try and be as strong as they possibly can be for this coming push.
Confidence from Direwolves as they are just walking in blind through the enemy jungle right now. They don't care who they find. They don't care who they go for. Kwaku, he's not tapped into that magic of last week. Unfortunately, he has had an absolute rush showing here today. And the Direwolves have found conviction in these picks. Always forcing 4v5s, displaying supremacy in their team fighting ability and finding strength with their characters. Despite all the attention shown towards Shock, he's still managed to be an absolute threat here.
And I do want to praise the Direwolves for still hitting the abilities that they need to, right? Decoy is still hitting those hooks. Some of them maybe they shouldn't be. Some of them maybe they're curving, but what matters is that he is hitting them. Now they get the pick once again onto Kwaku. They'll push forwards. The threat is on the inhibitor. I think they should still be able to look towards this one, even if Decoy cops it because he has the stone plate. That flank from Prayless is there, but can it do anything?
Well, he finds himself a 2-man kit. Once again, Shock is the target. He falls on down. The response is good, though. Vital is a machine. An AoE galore. Double kill from downtown. There was nowhere to run or hide. Get back to your fountain. I'm still gonna kill you.
I think they might just push towards the end here, Skibby. No real troubles. We'll see if anyone can stop them from doing this. Kwaku's back alive, but he's just a bit of fodder.
Alive for a mere moment as Direwolves show so much strength opening up the week here with a victory and with a win that cements their position. You heard Vital say it would be easy, and with a performance like that, did you ever question him?
That was, look, it was a 26-odd minute victory. Like, you give credit where it's due to the Direwolves. They had a very strong early game, nice little early ganks there from Mir. There was still some shaky moments, right? Like, this is one of those teams that we saw in the finals of Split 1, and it's a team that should be bouncing back and staying near the top, but I feel like if you have a mid-game like that against one of the other top teams, they could maybe get more back on you, even more back on you, and turn that around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Direwolves definitely got shown a bit of respite in certain areas of the map, in the areas of strength that we expected to see come out there from Gravitas, but they were unable to transition that into anything meaningful. Direwolves take the victory to open up our third week of competition here in the OPL. We're going to jump to a quick break, and when we return, it's our second game of the day. It is the Chiefs taking on Mammoth.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe, and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
It's got it! This is deadly! It's got it!
Welcome to the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson.
And that's a beautiful hemo play onto multiple members. He gets himself a double kill. It's Ray's doing what he does, the team fight king.
We love everybody. We love the OPL.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.